Welcome to the first live webinar. I'm excited about tonight. I have Video Locktician here live. She is going to be here in the on the show on the channel for 1 hour. Today we're going to do 1 hour. So the first 30 minutes we're going to talk about her choice in choosing sister locks and why she decided to get sister locks and why she start her business and creating products for locks. And then the last 30 minutes, we're going to do a live Q&A and take some of your live questions that you throw in the chat. So make sure you drop down some questions so we can keep it moving, have a good time. I hope you're here to enjoy yourself, here to learn, have fun, and just lay back on a good Sunday evening. So I'm going to stop talking and give her the floor so she can introduce herself and tell us all about her. And I'm so interested in this. This is very exciting. I'm so appreciative for you to come on the channel. And go ahead, girl, talk about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm Phyllis, the video loctician. I've been online for about 10 years, which is a long time. And during that process, I had to learn how to do all this techie stuff. But when I was about 36, 56 now, so about 20 years ago, my hair started to get very, very dry. And I was wearing perm and color. And I always admired those women who either had the locks in their hair, had the real short, sporty haircuts or the Caesar cuts, or were wearing their hair natural where hardly anybody was. And so my hair just became extremely damaged. I knew that was because some of the things that were going on in my body. And I decided that I was going to go natural. And across a magazine with some advertisement or where Sister Locks was being featured. And I saw those locks and I fell in love with them. And I was in a salon and I actually tore those pages out and folded them up and put them in my purse. And I carried them close to me for the longest time. And I said, whenever I get locks, this is what I want to get. This is exactly what I want to get. But I really couldn't find anybody. I still had a lot of perm and stuff in my hair. And so I took a year to cut off all the perm. I did a big chop back then when they wasn't calling it a big chop. But just cut off all my perm and let my natural hair start to come in. And then a year later, I actually got the sister locks. And then a year after that, I became a sister lock consultant. Okay, so that's basically how I got started.
Okay, did you talk about why you started with making your products and why you chose to get sister locks?
Okay, so all right, the reason why I chose sister locks is because I just thought they were the sexiest thing ever. And if I could have locks that small with that kind of stylability, that's what I wanted to get. I hadn't even gone to a place, and of course, I'm in Delaware, so nobody knew about sister locks. At that time, I think they were going for like $450, and which was a lot of money back then. But I didn't mind that. But I got them in, and that was a process. The woman, I had to go to Philadelphia, so I had to travel for about a year or two to Philadelphia to get my locks, and it was a 2-hour ride until I started to go down the highway because that ride was long for me. But she put them in all in one, like in one setting. We had one break, had pizza. She rested on the couch. During that time, they shampooed the hair right after they did it, and then they let you go. So I got done in the wee hours of the morning. And when I came home, my husband looked over my head and he said, I can't believe you paid $450 for that. And so I just rolled my eyes and went to bed. Now, I absolutely love the sister locks. I got a lot of compliments on my hair. However, I have seborrhea, and that's like, and it's related to stress a lot, or if I eat a lot of sugar in my diet. So I have like cradle cap for babies. I get that all around my hairline and in certain places. And so the sister lock products didn't really work for me because they were too drying for my scalp and for my hair. And I had to just start doing a lot of research and putting things and making different oils for my hair. And I had that here. I love the sister locks so much. I loved the transition. I love the way it, just kind of builds up your confidence. I think a lot of people, when they do go into locks, there's a confidence factor that is kind of built in with that whole thing, because you do go through stages where you don't necessarily like your hair. Okay. And I always tell people, once you go through that, you're going to just have a lot of extra confidence, because your hair is going to look good all the time. And I've always said, even on a bad hair day, my hair looks good, And so I said, well, I love my hair so much. I was into it, and I decided to take the class. And the main reason why I decided to take the class, because I didn't want to have to rely on one person to do my hair, because that's an unknown. I didn't know if that person was going to stay around. I didn't know how committed they were going to be to, doing hair and things like that. And I didn't want to be caught with getting my locks done on a regular basis, which we all know that's what we have to do when we have the sister locks. So that was the reason why I actually wanted to. And plus, I want to know what's going on with my hair. Like, I never asked my loctician at that time, what she was doing, show me pictures, show me a video, anything. I just let her do her thing. I didn't know what she was doing up there. So that's just me, just wanting to know what was going on. So I took the class.
Okay.
So you just really want me to talk. I want you to ask me some questions. I think it'll go more free, because I'll start to ramble. I don't want to ramble.
Okay. You can ramble all day long. I just want to make sure that I give a special shout out. I'll give a special shout out to Shay Hinton and Darlene Ritter. They did a special request on me getting you on this live. They encouraged me to find you, hunt you down, and get you here. And I do have some questions, but I want you to speak freely, so that if you answer some of my questions already, then I can kind of X out some of those questions.
Okay.
So you can talk, and if you feel like you want to stop, and then I can go ahead and roll in with the questions. It's up to you. We can do it either way.
So she actually wants me to talk for half an hour. Okay, good. All right. So listen, this is what I learned about myself just through taking the class and going through the process of learning sister locks. I learned that I was really good at it. And the thing is, I wanted to be good at it. So parting was, a real particular thing for me, the grids and all of that. Now, the other thing for me, and this is where I think I'm a little different, after the sister lock class, even before the sister lock class, I was educating myself. I was already doing natural hair. I did that for about a year or two before I actually got trained with the sister locks. So, and I would go and travel and learn from the big wigs in the industry back then. So I traveled to Atlanta, to New York. I would stay in a hotel. I would pay somebody to teach me one-on-one, their techniques. So for me as a consultant, as a natural hair consultant, it wasn't just sister locks. So I learned a variety of techniques. I learned that there are several ways to lock the hair. I just chose the sister locks. All right. So, I'm very well, I guess, educated in the natural hair and in the locking arena. And that you have to do on your own, because I tried to go through, traditional cosmetology schools and things like that. But once I found out I had a conversation, asked the right questions, natural hair is not recognized as, like, when you go through a cosmetology school, natural hair is hair that they can't deal with in their school. The hair is considered overly curly or overly kinky, and they have to process to make it straight in order to do the services. And so I wasn't going to be able to get what I wanted to know and learn about natural hair, and more specifically about locking, through the traditional cosmetology industry. And so a lot of people, they want to know, do you have to have a license and things like that? In some states you do. I encourage you to find out what the requirements are for you. I still really don't know what they are in Delaware, because I don't care at this point, because you can't just let those type of things, those are the kind of things that will hold you up. If somebody asks me to do their hair and they're giving me permission to do their hair, that's something that we've always done traditionally, culturally anyway, it's okay. And that's the way I look at it. Um, and I really subscribe to learning other hair things. Now, in that process, I had a cosmetology book. My sister actually went and got her cosmetology license, so I had her book. So I've read that book from cover to cover several times on hair health, and a lot of things that you're not going to get when you take some of these other classes. So therefore, I just didn't get the Sister Locks training. I got a lot of training from other people, a lot of locking techniques, and also, I learned things that they were teaching in cosmetology school through, books and things like that. So I've always educated myself through the years, and I still do that. And that's very important. And that's how I guess that's how a lot of things just come naturally for me as far as doing the hair, talking about the health of the hair, because for me, what's most important is growing healthy locks. That's the name of the product line. It's called Healthy Locks. And that's the most important, because what I see that's going on with the wigs and the weaves and extensions, a lot of people are I feel like they're losing their hair in some of these traditional salons where they're doing a lot of things because the health of the hair is not really considered. And if you go on YouTube, you'll see that kind of stuff all day long. And so I decided that if I was going to have a business, I wanted to have it from my home. I started very, very slowly. It took me 8 months before I got my first true client. And it took me 15 hours to do her hair, and her locks were large. And Sister Locks told me that they were too large. And, so you adjust and you take your pictures and things like that. Are you taking your pictures, Nita?
Yes, I'm taking my pictures. I only did one adult's hair so far, and you have to have 3 adults.
Right. So I think that's still the same. I don't
So
know.
I'm still.
Yeah, I don't know what Sister Locks is doing now, as far as all that goes and what you guys have to go through to get your what is it that you get your certification. But when I took it, it was a 2-day course. I think it's now 4 days.
Yeah, so you took a 2-day course. What was that like? Because 4 days, I felt like it wasn't even enough.
I'm sorry, you said you felt like it wasn't what?
It was too fast for me in the 4 days. Like, it was just jam-packed information constantly. So you did 2 days, half of the time that I did. What was that experience like?
Same. I felt at the time that it was
Really?
I felt at that time that it was absolutely the best information on natural hair, because hardly anybody had good information on natural hair. So kudos for Sister Locks, because that I did get from that, and I was able to build on that knowledge. But anyway, started my business from home with just like a chair. This is all you need: a chair and a little desk. Actually, the room that I'm in now, this room has been totally transformed. It used to be my formal dining room, and so all that furniture eventually got kicked out, and I've transitioned it into my salon. And that's how most people start. But for me, at some point, I decided that I really wanted to be very professional with my business at home. I didn't want anybody's appointment to overlap with anybody else's. I wanted to keep work with a schedule and things like that. So it allows me I have a lot of freedom by having my business from home. I like building my own schedule, and the products came because there wasn't like I said, that the Sister Locks products that we were supposed to use, I used them for about 6 months, and they didn't work for me. So I had to just do a lot of research on essential oils, on oils and things like that, and started putting some things together. And then those things I started to share with my clients. My clients loved it, encouraged me to get one product on online on the website. So with all of that, and just teaching myself how to do all that, I sold 1 bottle of mist for maybe a couple of years, and then I just started adding to the product line based on the feedback that I was getting from, other people who slowly started to follow me. I started out just like you did. So eventually, if you're out there and if you're willing to share the information, you will grow a following, online. And most of that came through YouTube. Now, if you look at my YouTube channel, you'll notice that I was more prolific maybe in the year 2015 with putting the videos out there. Like I saw for you, Nita, you had like over 250 videos, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how does she do that? But I see that you do a lot of that with your cell phone. And this is the first time I'm doing anything like this with my cell phone. So maybe I'll start doing that. I don't know. I'm usually at my desktop. But it was the YouTube videos for me. Like last year, maybe I might have did 1 or 2 videos. But what you'll find is that it's like the main thing as far as getting people to know me and to find me. I have videos that have been out there for 10 years. 10, 11 years, maybe since 2007. I think that was my 2007, 2008 when I first put on my first video, when nobody was really doing this kind of stuff. So I still get people who look at those, they look old. You look at them, they definitely look old. My hair was a lot thicker then and all that kind of stuff. But that was my main thing. Now what I'm trying to do is learn about the social media, the Instagram. And I know I have all that stuff on my website now, but if you go there, you'll see I haven't been there in a couple of years. So that's my goal moving forward for 2019, to learn social media, which is the reason, one of the reasons why I wanted to be, that I agreed to be here with you, Nita, to see how all this stuff worked. I've learned how to do some things, on my end, not like this, but I have a platform that I use, and I don't use the Google Hangout. So I was just really interested in learning how you did all that. And it seems pretty easy. But video is key. I mean, everybody, video.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of questions about your product, and I'm very interested about that too. What made you start mixing in the kitchen, however you did it, and figure out what works best for your sister locks? Because the products didn't work for you, and you said your clients loved it. What made you start, mixing up and figuring out what works best, and how did that process go?
That was something I fell into because now I'm a retired police officer. Okay. So I didn't do anything crafty. What I learned about myself during that time, after learning how to do the locks and taking all these courses and, getting the good results I was getting when I did do the people's locks or natural hairstyles. I mean, I used to do the extension hair and all that for about a year, but then I narrowed all that down. So the main thing for me was, I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do what everybody else was doing, because that was going to be too much for me. Because I didn't want to be off. At first, when you start off, you want to be all things to all people. And I had to really sit back and think about what I wanted to do as a business and how I wanted that business to grow. I didn't want to do all things. And people were telling me, Phyllis, you can't just do sister locks that cost $400, $500. And, people are going to pay you that kind of money, and you're not going to be able to do that. And I got discouraged because it took me 8 months to get my first client. But let me do something one time. Let something work for me one time, and then I got it. That's confirmation for me. So what I did was research. And so I learned that I'm good at that. I mean, I read, I learn, I research, I try things, I smell things. I have a clientele that I can try things on and get some immediate feedback. But then I also get feedback from the viewer. So I gave things away for free. I put samples in, and I got confirmation from my viewers. I got confirmation from my clients. And then after that, I worked on, more professional looking packaging. Because when you're just starting off, you're just pouring things in bottles, slapping some type of paper label on there, or maybe even writing something with a crayon. I don't know. But that's kind of how everybody starts. But you want to get more professional. And that was my whole thing, for my business to be more professional, and for my products to look, like products you would go somewhere and buy off the store. So they're exclusive products. They're handcrafted still by me. The only thing that's changed is that I have a helper now that comes in twice a week to help me make the products, label, and do all that little busy work that I just cannot or don't want to do anymore. So I pay somebody to do that. You ready to go to bed? Excuse me for just a sec. Hurry up. See you. Yeah, so it's just me researching. I'll research all day. and then I'll try things. This cabinet here, that's my I don't know, can you see in the back? Yeah, this cabinet here, I got a bunch of just a bunch of oils, fragrance oils, essential oils. You can't see over here, but there's a lot of essential oil stuff over there. So I just knew that when I went into the store, there wasn't anything good for my hair. There's certain ingredients that I definitely didn't want to have: mineral oil, alcohol, things like that. So I felt like I had to make them. And so that's how I got started making the products.
Okay. Okay, well, can you talk about like the first product you made, and some of your products that you have on your product line? Like describe them, what the name of them are, just people who never heard of them before, and what they do to help your scalp and your hair.
Okay, sure. And I should have had them right over here. But anyway, my product line is a line that helps keep your locks or your hair moisturized and conditioned between your shampoos. So the misconception, especially initially, when a lot of people didn't know about how to take care of locks and things like that, that you couldn't wash your hair, even with the installation. I mean, I know that consultants are still saying, don't wash your hair for so many weeks, and don't do this, don't do that. I don't say any of that, and actually, I'm completely opposite. You know when you need to wash your hair, and if your hair, especially if you have dandruff, if you have itchy, flaky scalp, that needs to be addressed like right away, or it's going to exasperate. And a lot of people who have locks let their scalp, it's more the scalp, it's not the hair, let their scalp get in a way where there's inflammation, where there's flakes, and they're just really troubled by their scalp. And that's because the scalp needs to be clean. It just needs to be clean. And so I teach my clients to take care of their scalp, shampoo their hair on a regular basis. But when you're doing that, you have to replace the oils. And when you do that, you have to expect, especially if you have new locks, some type of slippage. Now, and all locks will slip in the beginning, but you have to stay on top of that. And the ways that you stay on top of that is when, especially if you're new, if you're new to getting your locks done, you can't go for 5-6 weeks before your next retightening. That should be closer initially, especially if you're trying to keep your hair and your locks clean. Okay. So I know maybe some of this stuff is being taught. I don't know, but some things that just didn't make sense to me, especially if you're not having any of these issues with your scalp, then you can do and follow along with what is being taught. But if you are having issues, that's not going to work for you. And that's where I found myself in. So one of the products, let me get up and get that real quick because I don't have it here, is the oat oil. And believe it or not, this is, I don't know if you guys can see it. That's my number one selling product, my number one selling oil. Because a lot of people, especially new people with the sister locks and stuff, they have the itchy, flaky scalp and they don't know what to do because they've been told not to shampoo their hair. And I don't agree with that. And there's things that you can do. I mean, you can give yourself a scalp cleansing. Some people use sea breeze. I think I saw a video you Nita using the sea breeze. That's okay, but you don't want to keep using that because that's really going to rob your scalp of natural oils. And if you're doing anything like that, you have to replace those oils. Okay. So not a lot of oils. A lot of times we use way too much oil. And this is one of the things that I tell people, and I'll show you this. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. Use way too much. So when you're using oils and things like that was one drop. This one drop is going to cover all this skin here. So really, you just need a few drops throughout your scalp and let that absorb in. And then you're not overusing the oil. Okay. Your scalp doesn't produce oil where it's drippy or you can see it and stuff like that. Once you rub this in, it's going to soak in. It's going to absorb in very readily. And it's going to, 10 minutes later, it's going to seem like you don't even have any oil on your scalp. And that's how you should be using the products. And my products are made to absorb in very readily with the oils and the essential oils that I use. Okay. So that's for somebody who has a scalp issue, a lot of flaking, itching. If you go on my site and you read the testimonials, you'll see that this product really works really, really well for that, the oil. It's also on Amazon. And then you have your conditioning mist. And the only time the conditioning mist I came up with, because I know, you know, back in the 80s when we were all wearing the Jerry curls and things like that, and the hair grew very, very well until you decide to come out of it. That Jerry curl style was very drying and damaging to the hair, and that's what needed that glycerin or that moisture product on there. The moisture mist that I have, they had the glycerin in there, they had some essential oils, they had some really good oils in there. And the only time that a lot of times the locks are getting moisture is when first you shampoo. If you get caught in the rain, if you go swimming, that's a whole nother thing because there's chlorine and salt and stuff you have to deal with. But that's really the only time. So, you know, a daily mist or a few times a week of misting your locks with something that's conditioning is very, very good for your hair, for your external hair. Our hair does not produce moisture. There are no water molecules in the hair. The only time it's going to get moisture is externally. So we just help that along with the mist. And that's just as simple as spraying the mist directly on your scalp and then just kind of squeezing it in there. Okay. And then I'll follow up with a little bit of the oils along the scalp. Along the left of the locks. And that's it. And not unless you want me to talk about something, a product specifically. Now, I will say this, and I do have some videos out there. And with the site, which is a new site, I'll be doing more of what I call, and I have coined the term dry conditioning. And that's where we're conditioning our hair, moisturizing and conditioning our hair in between our shampoos. So it consists of you spraying your locks, right? And then adding a little bit, let's do that again, a little bit of oil, okay? And then for me, I concentrate on my ends. This is my oldest hair. Smells lovely. That's my oldest hair. And that's where I get more TLC from half my locks down. And that's how I keep it nice, maintained, and moisturized. So my clients, if I'm starting their locks, they never go through a period a period where their locks are real dry or anything like that. Now, there's some other things that can contribute to dryness. If you're coloring your hair, if you're shampooing too much and not replacing those natural oils, you know, with maybe some essential oil or essential oil blend, yeah, your hair can become very, very dry. You can experience a lot of slippage. But that's something that you talk about with your consultant while you're doing that. And your consultant should be able to talk you through how you need, what your regimen is going to be. Everybody's regimen is going to be different. Okay, Nita.
Okay, that was my question next. I was going to ask you now, do you recommend people that have baby locks or under 1 year to use the products, or only for people that you think need it? Do you put these products on your clients no matter what, or if they have an issue?
Products, I do a dry conditioning from day one. So installation day, they get the oil on the scalp, they get misted, they get the oil on their locks, and then they leave. And they leave with a package. There's a package that I have on the site called I think it's called the newbie kit. So you have the mist, you have the Lock Love oil, and the Lock Love shampoo bar that they leave here with from day one. And that's why there's also a video I have out there. So there's 2 videos that I just put out. One is me, of one of my clients. She's had her sister locks for 11 years. So you'll be able to see, and she's always used my products. So no dryness, no nothing. You'll see how I do that on the long locks, but she's been using the products, and all my clients use the products from day one. So that's the misconception. The thing where people get into trouble with the products, specifically with the sister locks, is that they use too much, one, and they're using the wrong type of products. These products were made specifically for my hair, okay? So I'm having an issue. I want to deal with that issue. And then I shared these things with my clients who encouraged me to put this stuff online. And that's how it started for me. So what you're getting is what I would absolutely use for me and my family.
Okay, so I just want to make a comment. I
Mm-hmm.
said comment. I've never ever used any products in my sister locks, and at this point, I don't want to use any products. The reason why I got sister locks is because I was told that I don't even have to use a comb. I don't have to use any products. I don't have to use any oils, and that's what sold me for sister locks. So you don't have to use products, but if you have an issue, you can, because I know it's kind of like a, I don't know what to call it, but some people say use oil, some people say don't use oil. Some people say they need it, some people say, I'm gonna use it just because I heard she was using it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to confuse everybody, because some people are like, my consultant never put oil in my hair, then I must got the wrong consultant. But it's based on your journey, and I think you made that comment already too, about that. So I hear everybody in the chat right now is saying that they love your products. They saying they love you. So just so you can know that.
Love you
But
right
I've
back,
never
knockers.
but I have never used anything in my hair. I only had that one dry spell, and I had one itchy spell. And like you said, I used that Sea Breeze probably about twice. I didn't use it too much. It wasn't something that I was using often. But I think you have to base it on your journey, and if you're seeing the need for to use products, and if your hair is, I don't know. I thought you had to wait till your hair was a little bit more mature. That's what I thought
All right,
because of
let
slip.
me say this. All right, let me say this. You took the class, okay? You basically got the same information that I got, okay? What I'm saying, and what I've always said, that I had scalp issues, okay? And this is the other thing that I know. Um, you now for right now, yes, your locks look lovely. They're very, very healthy. But at some point during the lock journey, the hair is going to get dry. It's just going to get dry based on what you're doing. If you're going to the beach, if you shampooing your hair with certain things, the oil from the natural oils from your scalp will never go down to the tips the longer it gets. Okay. And Anita, when before you locked your hair, did you do any conditioning? Did you do any oiling or anything?
I use oil sometimes. I've never been like I had to use oil every day or once a week. Like if I felt the need, because I had traditional locks before this.
Right.
So before this journey, I had traditional locks for 4 years. So I would do my retwist, every so often, and then I will oil my hair with Do Grow. That's the oil that was my oil of choice. But it
Mm-hmm.
would be every so often. It was never like my scalp. I never had like a bad, dry, flaky scalp.
Right.
So I think it might just depend on. Did you have a dry, flaky scalp before you got sister locks?
Yes. Yes. And so that's the thing.
Okay. So okay.
Not addressed. Okay. That is not addressed. And it felt like my scalp was on fire, and it just got worse. It just got worse. And I was desperate. I was desperate to find another solution for me, because the Sister Lock, the shampoo, that would be considered like a clarifying shampoo. It does what it's supposed to do. Get all the excess oils out, and what that does is roughen up the cuticles so the hairs could, come together and mat together a lot better. And it's not necessary. All right, so this is the thing, and this is what I know, and this is when you do learn about other locking processes. Okay, it's not the products that help. The use of products or not using products that help your hair grow. You just got to know what works well for you. Um, you have white people or Asian with very, very straight hair, and the hair will lock. Okay, so it doesn't. Uh, you have people who have hard to interlock hair, and it's a very smooth cuticle, but over time it will mat up and lock. So it's not the products at all. What's most important is keeping your scalp clean, keeping your locks clean, keeping the length out of your locks. That's a whole nother topic. And then using what works for you. So for a person like yourself who doesn't have scalp issues, have very healthy hair from the jump, then yeah, you may not have a need for any extra moisturizing, any extra conditioning, and things like that. But that's not the case for most people. It just isn't. But a lot
Right.
of people just go overboard when they start using products, and then now they're in a quandary about, well, what do I use? Use very minimal if you're going to use anything, and then research that.
I totally agree with that. My daughter, she has sister locks. She was my first client. I did her establishment. She has dry, flaky scalp. She even has it to the point where sometimes her scalp will bleed in certain areas,
Yeah.
and she has a prescription shampoo for it. So I know that based on her scalp and the way it was previously before she got locks, she's going to need oil. There's no doubt about it. So I believe that it is different for each person in the health of your hair and your scalp. So I guess you have to realize what state your hair is in before sister locks and during to reach, to figure out if the products are best for you. Because I'm just trying to say, because some people might, like me, I'm a case that I don't need it, and then you said case that you did need it. So I don't want people that just putting it in just because. You know what I'm saying?
That is correct. And you're doing locks, so you're going to find that there's going to be different issues for your clients, and they're going to come to you and ask you, well, what do I do? And if you're just telling them to do something or not doing it based on your hair and your scalp, that's not going to work. So that's why you have to have that
right.
They're going to be looking for somebody else. Okay, if you can't help them with their issue,
right.
they're going to immediately start looking for somebody else. So you have to have those answers ready for them, and you can't base it on what works for you and what doesn't work for you.
Right. Now I agree with you totally. So I'm going to start going into some of the questions that were asked. But like I said, make sure that your scalp is healthy, at a healthy state before you get your sister locks and during the process of you having your sister lock journey. She has excellent products, and she has people that verify that her products are the bomb. So if you are looking for something that will work for you in this journey, you should check her out. Check out her website. Can you give them your website?
The website is videolocktician.com. The Locktician is spelled with a K. Now, let me say this. The other thing is, I'm very open and transparent and very engaging with my customers. So I don't want anybody to go online and purchase anything. Like, I'm uncomfortable with even talking about my products here. Okay. I talk to a lot of people. People call me, and a lot of my customers have my personal cell number. So I'm like your loctician away from your loctician if you're having concerns that's not being addressed. So it's almost like, a lot of people call me like in secret, and they feel bad because they're calling me but they have a loctician, and I will never steer anybody away from their loctician. All I'm going to do is ask questions that make freaking sense, and you should be able to have a conversation or feel like you can have a conversation with your loctician without feeling like she's being offended. And so I always put my clients at ease and let them know that we can always have an open conversation. And if something's not working and I'm doing, let's have a discussion about it. You don't really need to go anywhere else because I'm open to all that. And I'm also like that with my customers. So if you feel like, you want to try something and you're not sure, then I'm going to ask you some questions about your hair, about what you're doing. And a lot of times I tell people, you don't even need to use this. Or I say, take that out the basket. You don't know that. You don't need that. You don't have a scalp issue, So that's how I treat my customers. That's how I treat my clients.
Okay. Based on their situation and whatever they have going on with their hair at the time.
That is correct.
So I have one question. I have a few questions, but I'm gonna go with this one first, real quick. Danette asks, with using the shampoo bars, do you have to use conditioner? Is the shampoo bar stripping? Do you feel like your hair is getting stripped when you use that?
All right, no, the shampoo bars are not stripping. Hold on for a second. All right, so we're gonna pull these up. We'll talk about that real quick right now.
And my question is, you come up with a shampoo bar versus using liquid soap. What made you do that?
Couple things. I just like shampoo bars. And you can turn them into liquid if you want to. And so I have videos on all of that. And they're going to last a lot longer because you can cut these. You can cut them in blocks and use them. All right. So the way you use the shampoo now, I'm going to show you what kind I have now. I have the conditioning ones. So the conditioning ones either have like this one has shea butter. So this would be conditioning. Any ones with the white swirls in them are conditioning. This one has shea butter. These two are considered the vegan, the blue and the orange. This one's for the scalp. This is called Ew. They're going to have the peppermint and the tea tree in there. And also the goat milk is in this one. So this is a nice bar if you have that irritated scalp. Okay. Don't use the whole bar in the shower. Cut off a piece or, cut it in thirds or quarters and put the rest of it up. And saturate your hair. Go across your scalp with the bar, and you're not going to use a scrubbing motion. You're just going to glide it across your scalp or glide it across your hair. And when you feel the suds, then it's going to be it's a low lather shampoo bar so that it rinses out real clean. And they rinse out very, very clean. The one that I get most people started on is the Lock Love. Okay, that's more of a lemongrass scent. All these are very natural bars, and they're conditioning in their own, but these two, the ones with the shea butter in it, are more conditioning, and that's why you don't need to use a conditioner after it.
Okay.
Then I have the clarifying bar, and these are the ones that your hair it's still going to be soft, but it's going to get the buildup out over time. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because I do have videos and stuff up on the site talking about this.
Right.
And I'll be putting more new stuff up there. But the clarifying bars are really, really good to get that buildup out if you've been using a lot of products. And you'll notice that. Do not use these if you're using henna to color your hair, or if you just colored your locks and stuff like that. It's going to kind of strip the color out. It does what it's supposed to do. Okay, and then you would just follow up with the mist and the oils.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead. I'm done.
I was going to say, I have another question about the shampoo. If you have dry, flaky, itchy scalp after your Sister Lock establishment, how often should you use the detox shampoo bar? And should you cleanse the scalp before the Sister Lock establishment? I mean, I know the answer to that one, but go ahead.
Yeah, you want to go to your loctician with clean scalp and clean hair. I don't know what you do need. I can't assume that, I don't know.
No, girl, you better.
Thank you. I can't assume that though. So if you're having issues with your scalp, it would be this. This would be the combination here. This one, the OO, and then the OO serum. Okay. Very, very little bit of the OO oil on there, but these two work wonders. I encourage you guys to read any of the testimonials before you make a purchase. Go read the testimonials.
Okay. Another question I have. This is not about products. It's about locks. Okay. Son James, talk about Sister Locks and locking on processed texturized hair. I got my Sister Locks installed on texturized hair, and my consultant charged for 8 inch of hair, but she only actually installed about 4 to 6.
All right. So listen, everybody's different. This is what I'm going to say. If anybody's here, before you get your locks done, first of all, we don't go to, I think you maybe need to go to 2, maybe 3 consultants to have 2 or 3 consultations before you settle on a consultant, first of all, and know exactly what's going to be done. Like if she said that she was going to leave 3 inches or 4 inches left at the tips. I don't know if Sister Locks teaches that. I know that when I took it 20 years ago, yeah, you only went into the permed hair a little bit, but you left it loose. I've never done that. I go all the way to the ends, and I do that for aesthetics because people are not going to know what to do with that loose hair, and you're going to have to keep that hair either plaited or curled or whatever, or you're going to be looking real crazy, right? So it doesn't matter to me if they have permed hair, a lot of perm left. I go all the way to the tips, and that's just me. That's one of the things that I
okay.
like, and I I wanted to change. I go over to the tips.
Yeah, I think you got to go down. And sometimes I leave like a tiny bit, because people like that little coil on the end. Because I figure when you go all the way down, 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 they don't get that curl that the sister lock curl. So I leave a little tiny bit for the curl. But besides, I should have any afros or a whole bunch of just hair just hanging.
No, if the hair is natural, yeah, you should, and you're going to have that natural curl whether you go all the way down to the tip or not. That end, if your hair is natural and if it's healthy, it's going to coil up like baby coils, right? If you have perm or if you have damage from heat damage or chemical damage, that tip is not going to coil up and it's just going to be straight. All right, so yeah. I just go to where I
Okay, Francis.
go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, finish that.
No, I just go. I was just saying. I'm reiterating. I go all the way to the tip as far as I can, and just start from there. You'll still
Okay.
cool.
Okay, Francis.
Hey, girlfriend. There's a delay.
Francie Robert, she want to know, do you have any suggestions for thin edges with Sister Lock? She's still having issues with the front left side.
All right. The only way I can really answer that, because I have questions when people tell me thin edges. I want to know why the edges are thin. What is she currently doing? How is she styling her hair? How long has she had her locks? What products is she using? I don't know. Does it run in your family? Are you only getting it when you're getting stressed? So those are the questions that I ask. So I can't really answer that. That's too vague of a question for me to answer. I'm going to have questions
You
for
need
you.
to, yeah.
I will say this. Let me say this. If
Okay.
you're having thinning, you really have to be cognizant of not stressing those locks. If you're having thinning and those locks are real delicate, usually you have your more delicate locks around your hairline. You can't be continuing to pull them up or do a lot of styling. I know that in the very beginning, I ask my clients not to do any kind of styling for at least 8 months to a year. Just let their hair be like your hair is, Nita, and just let it just do its thing. Because during a locking process, the hair has to go through its stages, and if you're continuing to pull the locks to roll it or to get it into a style, you're stretching out what needs to be compressed as far as the locking process goes. So then you end up your locks end up looking more stringy. So just try to keep the tension away from that delicate area. And then I have a couple of products that I just came out with that I'm actually launching in July that's going to help deal with thinning edges. And it's a solution that you put on topically.
Okay, what about moisturizing? I have Time Chaser who wanted me to ask this question. She said that you say that drinking water and spraying water on your locks are just not good enough. What are you recommending for moisturizing your sister locks?
Okay, no, I didn't say that. Okay, I said now
Okay.
drinking water. All right, drinking water. Listen, drinking water is good for all the systems in our body. All right, so and it's going to contribute to healthy hair growing out of your scalp. So drinking water is going to help internally with keeping the systems running smoothly and things like that. And ultimately, it will help with producing healthy hair. But the hair externally that grows outside the body is only uh, I guess it changes the texture of the hair. So water will change the texture of the hair externally if you apply it, and it keeps it in a state where it will accent your natural curl. The other thing is if you just use water, and also we live in states or places where the water can be very, very harsh or laden with chemicals. That can cause residue on your locks, which is the reason why you need to clarify every now and then. But once that water dries, without any conditioning agents in it, it's just going to become, your locks are going to become drier. Okay, so misting with water by itself it's okay just temporarily. If you want, and that's why I have conditioning agents, and that's why, like, all right, for instance, even if you're not using my mist, okay, you can, and if you have a mist, a conditioner that you like, you can shake up a little conditioner in some water and spray that on. But a lot of times, what you have to understand, a lot of these products are not made for African American hair. Okay, they are not. A lot of them don't use essential oils, and they cause a lot of buildup on the locks. And just the very nature of locks will hold on to the products. They don't rinse out well. A lot of these products are not made for our hair. And so less is always going to be more. Even if you're using my products, less is more. So as far as the moisture goes, this is what I'm saying. Your locks don't get any added moisture. We go weeks and weeks without adding any extra moisture to the hair. The only time you're going to get moisture is through your environment. And so I help that along with the misting if your hair feels dry to you, and only if it feels dry to you. Okay.
Okay. Another question I have from Shay Hinton. What are the white bulbs that stick out from your sister locks?
Those would be now, if it's not lint and if it's not lice, then it's going to be the root ball. The root ball, and it's hair that would have naturally or normally shed from your head, but it's encased in the locks, which it should be because we're locking our hair. And some people's root balls are more prominent than others. Everybody doesn't experience that to the level of some people. Some people you can see it with the naked eye. Most people you can't see it. So some people have really thick, pronounced root balls. Another time you'll see that is if the hair is being pulled out through traction prematurely. You'll see a nice, healthy root ball on there. So that's what's going on. So if you're seeing that, if you're doing a lot of styling, and if you're seeing that, particularly around your hairline, or around the front edges, the back edges, that may be traction, and you're pulling your hair out prematurely, or it's going to be the natural shedding that will be occurring, because we lose about 100 hairs a day, and you'll see that, and at that point you'll see that along the whole length of your locks. And then as your hair gets longer, they will eventually like evaporate and disintegrate, and they'll become less prominent.
Yes, that's definitely. I did a video on that, and that's true. And also, it could be a cause of someone retightening too tight.
Yes.
Or retightening.
Yes. You don't want to see it right after a retightening. That's too tight.
Mm-hmm. So it is a natural, and it also can be from too tight retightening, and also tight styling or tight updos or leaving styles in too long. Vinny Van said, "Do you have any products that will help with balding and alopecia?"
I do. They're called Hair Secrets RX. I have 2 solutions that you apply topically, and within the next 6 months or so, I'll be adding to that product line with supplements and probably some type of drink. So that's a 2-step thing. A lot of times, like I have alopecia. I have hair loss now because of my age, because it runs in my family. So there's hair loss, and then there's hair thinning. Okay, 2 things. And then there's hair growth. I guess 3 things. All right. So, and all of them need to be addressed differently. And so that's something that we can talk about a little later on, but there are products on the site for that.
Okay, I have another question about bunching. Oh, yeah. What causes bunching, and how can you correct it?
Um,
And that's from Shay
bunching.
Hinton too.
Yeah, she got a lot. She got a lot of. That's good for her. Does she have locks? What kind of locks she got?
She's about to get her locks. She's got her sample locks in right now. She's gonna be getting her sister locks real soon.
Okay, congratulations, girlfriend. What was the question again? I'm sorry. Bunching. All right, so bunching depends.
Yes.
Everybody doesn't experience bunching, and then the people who do experience bunching are only going to experience it on some of their locks, not all of your locks. So with the locks, a lot of times, for most people, you have different textures in the same head, okay? And because we're locking the hair, and that's a process that the hair goes through to lock, some of these locks will kind of creep up on itself, where it doesn't coil up, but it doesn't look like the rest of your locks. They're going to be shorter, and then you're going to feel like a need to like stretch it, and that's what you should do. So you should go put your fingers, hold the lock before the bunch, and grab the end and just kind of stretch it, and then go down with your fingers and just kind of do this thing with it. Okay, so just kind of stretch it. You don't want it to bunch all the way up, because if it bunches all the way up, and if you don't carefully just stretch it apart or stretch it from bunching, it will bunch up into like a ball, and then it'll be hard for your Loctician to pull through, and then it's going to be inconsistent with your other locks. So it's just a matter of just kind of, you know, reaching for it, grabbing it, kind of stretching it. You don't want to force anything. Wait until your Loctician if you feel like you need to force it, because what you can do also is clip some of those hairs in between, stretch it out, and then just roll it through your fingers. And depending on to what degree or what else is going on, like if the lock has become loose, your Loctician might need to go back in there and close up a hole or whatever. So over the years, I've learned a lot of troubleshooting techniques to bring the lock back to where it's supposed to be, so that it's very consistent with everything else. But usually,
and I just want to ask real quick, because
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Usually, you're going to experience the bunching in those first few months. In that first year, you're going to have the bunching. After your hair is settled, you won't be dealing with that anymore.
Okay, and I have bunching, and I think I had the bunching from I stopped braiding and banding too soon, and my locks were swelling up, and it didn't know what to do. So when I corrected my bunching, I didn't do it on dry locks. I had a little bit. I had my fingers damp when I took it and I did like this. I didn't do it on my dry hair. So I just want to make sure I add that tip in there. I didn't use it. My hair wasn't wet. I made sure my fingers were moist when I did it. So I don't know if you agree with that or not.
I do, absolutely. And see, and I come from a lock world, where before we do anything with your hair, you moisturize and mist first. So yes, same thing. Would not do it on dry. I don't do anything on dry locks.
Okay. We have a couple more questions, and then we're going to stop the live. And we're having such a good time. I know everyone, but I don't want to have her on here too long, because we both was like, girl, we tired. But
I can talk about that. I'm good. And
okay.
Don't let me talk.
Okay.
Don't let me forget. As long as they have questions, I'll stay on here. And then don't let me forget about the free shipping special I have for them.
Go ahead and talk about it right now. Then we go back to some questions.
Yeah. All right. So for tonight, what time is it?
It's probably, my time is 7:58. So your time is what, 8:58?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. All right. So listen. So if you order anything tonight, now for my free shipping, I usually do a minimum of like $45. You got to purchase $45 worth of products, and then you'll get free shipping, and that's every once in a blue moon. For my subscribers on my site, when I'm like right now, like if I'm transitioning my site over, I'm building a new one, and when I have to do things like that and convenience them, then they'll see a lot of free shipping things come aboard. But my site is almost done. The free shipping thing is not going to happen as often, maybe once every 2 months. So for Nita's viewers tonight, if you place an order anytime between tonight and tomorrow evening at 11:59, I'm going to give you free shipping, and I'm going to give you 5% off. Okay, free shipping and 5% off. And this is the code. It's going to be, what is the code? Sister Locker TV 5. So write that down. Sister Locker TV 5. Okay. And I'm going to keep this open until that particular one until tomorrow night. Now for my subscribers, I don't think I told them that. So they if you missed that for any reason, till Tuesday I will have Sister Locker TV. Okay. So the promotion is going until Tuesday for Sister Locker TV, but for you guys tonight who are here live, and if you order, and that's, you're going to know that you can order till tomorrow. And if you order, I'll give you to tomorrow night, 11:59. If you place an order anytime between now and tomorrow night, you can get the additional 5% off with the shipping if you put the Sister Locker TV 5 in there. And that you do that during check.
Is that in no spaces in between that, so I can put that in the live?
And it doesn't matter if it's uppercase or lowercase.
Free shipping to the UK. Time Chaser's asking.
Don't do UK. No international. Sorry, that was a big headache for me years ago. So if you got somebody in the States who can ship it to you, then that's different. But I don't ship outside the country anymore.
Okay, let's get back into jump back into some of these questions.
Sure.
Okay, so Victoria Hunter wants to know, how do you know when it's time to stop braiding and banding? What are the signs?
If you're not having any slippage, if you're not having any unraveling, and I try to get people out of that process as soon as I can. So as soon as I feel like, usually there's an area, and for most people, it's going to be around your hairline where it's less hair in the locks are more fragile there. Once you don't have any slippage around there anymore, and your locks look, like they're staying pretty good after you shampoo, then, yeah, you can stop braiding and banding. I always tell my clients, expect to do that for 8 months to a year. And if we can get you from stop doing that before then, I'll let you know. That was one of the things I absolutely hated.
Okay, Kay Silla, she wants to know, how do your clients who are pregnant handle shedding with sister locks?
I don't understand the question. Or is it shedding to the point where they're losing their locks? Because this is what happens. When you're shedding, it's still going to be in the lock. If your hair is in that locking, if you have the locks in, and if you're shedding, it's still going to do that. Your body is balancing out, from the hormones. I did have one client. I had a couple clients that had babies while they were in their journey. The babies are teenagers now. But one client she would actually lose her hair and lose her locks in that area. And then after, she had, the hair grew, and then when her body was balancing out, she lost a lot of hair and she lost some locks. That may happen. And what the loctician should do is just act as if the lock was still there and treat it the same way as if the lock was still there. And when the hair starts to come back in on its own, that's just the body correcting itself. It will come back, and it will come back just as full, usually, if you're not putting a lot of attention on it. I'm not sure what she was asking me with that question.
Well, I think I kind of understand. I know that during pregnancy and sometimes after pregnancy, I know people talk about postpartum shedding. Shedding. So I don't know if it depends on, like you said, your hormones. But I'm thinking she's trying to figure out, is there any type of way to help prevent it or help fix it? But I don't think it's nothing that anybody can really do for that. That's just a part of, some people may have it, some people may not. That's just right. Like, you might have heartburn, you might not.
Yeah. So for my client, she had it. She grew a lot of hair. Hair grew crazy, real nice. Then she started her locks around her hairline, and they came out, and they got weak there. And after a few months, we were able to put new locks back. Everybody's different.
Okay, next question that I have for you is from Victoria again. She said, when you have those little balls hanging at the end of your hair and they're about to fall off, is it okay to cut them? They look crazy hanging way away from the rest of your head. Black hair.
All right, for some reason, I am not getting you well at all, and I can hardly even hear that question. I think you were talking about the balls that kind of dangle on the end of some of the locks. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, you're coming in real bad now. And it may be me, I don't know. But anyway, if you had the balls, don't mess with those. For the most part, that's a sign that the bottom part of your locks are sealing up. The locks your hair will start to lock in the bottom third. The hair doesn't lock up here and work its way down. It locks from the bottom third and then works its way back up. That's just a sign that the hair is starting to come together to seal off that end, to seal off that beautiful coil that you once had on the end. Now, if you tug on it and it doesn't come off, readily, then just leave it alone. It'll work its way back up into the lock. But if it bothers you and it's just being held on by maybe one or two strands of hair, you can go ahead and clip it. It's fine. Just clip it at the hair close to the rest of. Don't actually clip into the lock. So you can clip it to get rid of it if you feel like the rest of your hair is above the ball is locking up. Okay, but that's just a good sign that your hair is starting to lock and your ends are starting to close up. But if they come off naturally, that's fine. But I don't want you tugging on them and pulling on them.
Okay. I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
Don't just be like, ah.
Right, exactly.
Okay, I miss I think it's Corinne Crunchfield. She said, "Hi, what about rose water and aloe vera juice mixed together?"
That's something you're going to try, sweetheart. Now I have a spray, honey rose water. Rose water is very good for the hair, very conditioning for the hair. Aloe vera is very conditioning, very moisturizing for the hair. If you want to make a concoction and it works for you, then use it.
Okay, I have one more question. I don't see any more questions. If anybody want to ask any last questions, go ahead and throw it in, and we will close out the live. The last question that I see so far is, what should you do to have a nice set of gorgeous sister locks from the beginning of your journey?
That's a loaded question. All right. So that is totally that's the result that I want my clients to have. I want them to grow. That's how I want their journey to be. For their hair to grow out very healthy, very soft. Now that's the difference between my locks and what I see other people's locks or locks. They're not as soft as my clients. And that's because I get them on this regimen of this kind of dry conditioning from day one. So with my clients, their locks are very uniform. They're very soft. They smell nice all the time. They smell amazing. And they're well conditioned. And locks that are like that, you'll be able to see it visually. You'll be able to see it. I know you guys have seen locks that look dry, and if they look dry, they are dry. I know that you guys have seen locks that have color, and they look extremely dry because they are dry, because coloring is a very drying and can be a damaging process. It is. So less is more with products. Moisturization and conditioning very lightly is important if you want to have a really healthy journey with your locks. Now, if you're one of those sisters like Nita, who feels like she don't need anything on her locks at all, and if you like the results of them and the way your locks feel and look, then that's good for you as well.
Okay. Honestly, Google Hangout starts acting a little funny after about an hour, so we're going to cut it off. And I really appreciate everyone joining live. I don't want it to have any glitches or any mess up. And I'm feeling really good about this live, so we're going to go ahead and cut it off right now. And if we missed your question, I really apologize. She has a lot of videos with a lot of information, so go check her out. Your channel is called Video Profits.
That's before I learned how to brand myself. Yeah, so it's Video Profits on YouTube.
Okay, where do they find you on IG? And then give them that website one more time before we close the live.
Videoloctician.com. And a lot of my YouTube videos, the good ones, are on videoloctician.com.
Okay, one last question. Shay
Sure.
is asking, can you use the clarifying shampoo bar on your sister locks after you get your installation?
All right, listen, don't do that. Your hair, all right, this is the thing. For anybody who's new, haven't gotten your locks yet, do all your conditioning that you're going to do before installation. Okay, the other thing is the hair growing out is already healthy. We only really need help with conditioning if there's some other things going on that's making your hair dry. Other than that, you don't really need it. Okay. So don't feel like you have to use the products and things like that. And if you are using the products, use them very sparingly. And that's the whole thing. You're not using them every day. You're not missing out the day. The only time I tell people to use stuff every day, if their hair is already damaged, they already have color treated damage and things like that. You'll know. Okay, your hair grows out of your head healthy. Not a very looking head of locks. So therefore, she's not going to need a lot of things. But if you're trying to get a curl, if you're trying to, what the conditioning mist will do, and a little bit of oil, is going to help pronounce those natural curls that you already have. Your hair is so fluffy. It's gonna smell nice, and it's gonna have a natural sheen to it. So that's what the products will do for you.
Okay. All right. Let them know one more time where to find you, and then I'm going to put the link to your channel right on here.
Yep. Video,
IG, right?
VIDEO. Locktician, LOCK. TICIAN. Videolock.com. Now that site is still a site. It's still a site in progress. The blog part is not up, but you can definitely see and read about the products. You can definitely see the videos and some other. So just go in there and mess around. Definitely subscribe, and that way you'll know when I have my my free shipping and my discounts and things like that. And then I'm here. You guys can call me. Let me give you my telephone number: 302. 836 3550. That's on the site as well.
Okay. I just want to say I thank everyone for joining the live tonight. I'm really appreciating all the comments. I'm seeing that this live was informative. They loved it. They love your products. So you have your testimonies right here, right now. If you haven't checked out her products, if you feel that you need them, go to her website. Don't forget to subscribe to her channel. Don't forget to subscribe right here because there are going to be more live webinars with more guests throughout this year. You're going to be surprised every time I bring a new guest. I appreciate the love from the Sister Lock community that I have received thus far. And I appreciate everyone who agrees to be on my channel. It's amazing. And I'm loving the connections that I have made so far. Subscribe if you're here. Join the family. Make sure you like the live so then they can, promote it so everybody can get a chance to get this knowledge. And thank you again for watching. Don't forget to go on Facebook and follow in the page Sister Locker TV. Follow me on IG, Sister Locker TV, so you can stay all with what we got going on. You don't miss anything at all. Okay? And I thank y'all for joining. I don't know if you wanted to say your last goodbyes, and then we're going to cut it off.
Did you cut it off?
No. Okay. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
No, I just want to say thanks for asking, Nita. I really appreciate you sharing this information in this format.
Yes, and they're saying we need to have you come back again. I think she's definitely able to come back again. I love having you. Okay, have a wonderful night, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe while you're here.
Have a happy hair day.
I love when you say that. Have a happy hair day.